I'm chatting with Guy Lackland of the HCVA and David Richardson of Sustain by Coreton. And we're going to talk about sustainability. What is the connection with what's classic cars, Jaguar XKs and sustainability? Can we talk about the subject?
Yeah, I think we should talk about the subject because I think there's a really good story to tell. Really, if you think about it, classic cars are all about sustainability. Preserving an object and using it for as long as possible is one of the mantras of the sustainability lobby. You know, repair, reuse, recycle is what happens to a classic car multiple times through its life. So we've got these amazing, beautiful cars like the XK, which are not only beautiful to look at, but they're important historically, from a sort of historical artifact point of view, but they're also models of how to be sustainable in the longer term. And so going forward, we think, as the HCVA, we think there is a really strong story to tell about how classic and historic vehicles can form the centerpiece of a sensible attitude towards historical preservation and sustainability.
And David, what is your company? How is that playing a role in this sustainability debate?
So I think one of the key messages we want to keep on getting across to people is that it's not necessarily the car or the engine that's the problem. It's what you're burning within them. So if we can mimic the chemistries from non-fossil sources, what we're doing is we're able to effectively recycle carbon, and that's the basic principle of what sustainable fuels are. I mean, the key thing of what makes transportation an environmentally unfriendly prospect to most is the fact that we're releasing new CO2 into the atmosphere, and that's what a traditional fuel is. So by developing these sustainable fuels that we've been working on for quite a number of years now, and some of the technologies have been around since the Second World War, might add. Actually, what we can then do is take any sort of waste around, or we can do carbon capture technologies. We can effectively sort of suck out the CO2, those greenhouse gas warming sort of impacts, and we can recycle them back through, and we can make fuels out of them. And what we can then end up doing is we do what we call is closing the carbon loop. So yes, CO2 is going to come out of the exhaust pipe when you burn them again, but actually it's only CO2 that you've recovered from the environment. So to be able to do that and to preserve historic vehicles, and it's not just historic vehicles, this is also where we're going in the future. You know, what technologies are possible today? I mean, we seem to be on this rush for electrification, and honestly, we're not going to get in the timescales provided, and we don't want to convert lots of classic vehicles either. So let's just change what we put into them.
It's a big debate, isn't it? But isn't it important, isn't it tremendous that gentlemen such as yourselves are taking this very seriously, very responsibly? Because we're not a bunch of irresponsible, crazy guys who are just selfishly enjoying our cars. We want to look after the environment, of course we do. It's in our long-term interests. If we can marry the two principles, using our old cars with being responsible, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Exactly, and that message is finally starting to get through now to the legislators who set the rules that we all have to abide by. Yes. So that message that it's not all about batteries, that there is a role for multiple different ways of storing energy, which is basically what we're talking about. Sure. Storing energy in a liquid form that drops into an existing car, uses the existing infrastructure. What's wrong with that? You know, if that can be done in a sustainable way that doesn't create a pollution problem, fantastic, because you haven't got to reinvent any wheel.
Absolutely, indeed. And for those who don't actually know what the HCVA stands for,
it's the Historic and Classic Vehicles Alliance is what it stands for, and it's basically a trade organisation that a group of us started about 3 years ago that exists to make sure our message gets through to those people who make the rules, to make sure that they understand the positive message, not just about the environment, but about employment, about foreign earnings, about all of the different industries that rely on this sector. Because otherwise we tend to take it for granted that this must happen everywhere. Well, it doesn't. The UK is the centre of the world when it comes to historic motoring. And if we don't nurture it and preserve it, then I'm afraid we lose it forever, and that's what nobody wants to happen.
It's a great organisation with some superb people behind it. You're doing great work. It's fantastic, so important for the future. So good luck with all of that. Gentlemen, thank you very much
for joining us. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you.